Orser reporting from Landmark College. Video games have been quite popular during COVID. One of the most popular games that Landmark students are playing is called Among Us. Among Us is a game for both computers and mobile devices that can be played with people anywhere. Among Us is a space-themed game similar to Mafia, in which players take on one of the two roles, crewmates and imposters. The crewmate's goal is to fix the ship they're on or to identify all the imposters, while the imposter's goal is to try and kill all the crewmates without being found out. Every player has the ability to call a meeting to discuss who they think the imposters are. After discussion, each player then casts a vote on who they suspect of being the imposter. The player with the most votes gets thrown out of the ship. Data from Sensor Tower, a mobile download tracking service, says that Among Us received over 60 million downloads between August and September. So why is Among Us so appealing? We sent our reporter Guinevere Downey to find out what Landmark students thought of the game.
So why do you play Among Us?
I play Among Us because a bunch of my friends started playing it and I was like, this sounds like a cool game. Everyone on the internet seems to be talking about it, so let's download it on my phone because it's free and see what it's about, and I'm kind of addicted.
I think it's just a fun game sometimes to play with friends here and there. I honestly don't play it that often, but I've mostly watched YouTube videos on it. So it definitely can be fun though. Just to kind of.
So why do you like it?
I think it's interesting. It reminds me of a couple other games I like that kind of have like the aspect of trying to figure out who in the group is not on your side without you actually knowing. So I like a few board games I've played are like that, are card games. So I think it kind of puts into a game version that allows it just to kind of be more accessible. Like I can play it with people either on the line, so I don't have to be in the same room, or I can play in a group in the same room to figure out who's who. And if I'm the imposter, then I get to try to, for me poorly, but I will try to get rid of everyone else without bringing suspicion onto myself. So it can be kind of a fun little like friendly line game.
So you said you have opinions about Among Us.
Yes, I do. I feel like the game is good to an extent. I mean, I like the relatively cheap aspect of the game and everything, and the fact that it's free on phones is good. I think it is overhyped.
Why is that?
Just the fact that there are many similar games to Among Us that follow relatively the same format of like there's an imposter and everybody's trying to get tasks done without being hunted down by this imposter. There are many games that follow the same format and do it more interesting. And then also with Among Us, there's people have like connotated like this big aspect of lying with Among Us, but that's been a trope that's been in so many games that follow the same format. I just feel like the whole hype around Among Us diminishes the overall game for me.
Okay, what other games?
There's Trouble in Terrace Town. That was a Gmod thing. That's like the predecessor to the whole genre that there's an imposter and everything like that. There's another game that's called Barotrauma, where it takes a lot more in the way of learning your jobs and everything like that. And there is also another imposter that's trying to keep you from succeeding. To a lesser extent, there's the game on what's it called, Jackbox. It's Press the Button. That's another thing that has the whole like imposter aspect. And I feel like that does it a little bit in a more interesting way because like of all the tests and stuff that you have to do to find the imposter. But yeah, those are just a few that come to my mind of games that do that whole thing and more interesting.
Well, so I know Trouble in Terrace Town and Push the Button. I don't know enough about
Barotrauma
to really say, but I know that at least Trouble in Terrace Town is fairly difficult for people who don't game to get into.
Yeah, and that's understandable. So I will admit one of the good things about Among Us is the accessibility of it. It is a very good game and easy game to pick up. It doesn't take a lot in the way. I think my biggest issue with it is just all the hype that's been rolled around it, and like there's so many celebrities that have been jumping on the bandwagon of Among Us and everything like that, and it's just like it's getting all this attention for being relatively simple.
It's a lot of fun, and I guess kind of gets not critical thinking, but I'm like, okay, how can I like kill the whole team and not be caught? Although sometimes I'll kill someone, then accidentally, when trying to go away, I hit the self-report button. I'm like, oh, shoot.
Do you feel like playing it has helped with feelings of social isolation at all?
Yes and no, because yes, it's always fun to like play a game with someone, and board games can be a bit tricky right now in period of COVID, so it's not always the most, because you're touching pieces and you're moving and you're interacting, so it can be a bit harder to play a board game. With this, like if you have the app, you could just use your phone. If you have a computer, you can just play on your computer separate, so it is kind of like your own bubble you're playing in with. So I think yes, it can definitely add to the social experience. I've only played it when I'm like around people, so I think that in a way I was already in a social experience, so it's not like it just more advanced it, but I was already in a group talking about stuff too. So
I think a little bit, at least like if you're playing with friends, if you're like voice chatting or something over it, then you, even if you're not talking during the entire thing, you kind of like still kind of get the sense you're like hanging out with your friends, and it's a lot of fun.
As you can see, Landmark students have mixed thoughts about Among Us. Many students thought it was accessible, easy use, and a good way to connect during the pandemic. However, others thought it was overrated and unoriginal. Overall, Among Us has been a positive influence and has helped people to take their mind off what is happening in the world.